Yeah, I don't know what the problem is tonight because last night, don't know what the problem is tonight. Anything else? Oh well, we'll get through it. What Stevie say? Baby, everything is all right. Uptight, completely out of sight. Oh, here we go. You know I'm gonna throw that originals in there. Baby, baby, you don't understand how much I love you, baby, and how much I want to be your only man. Ooh, baby, baby, you don't have to go. Stay a little round a little longer, baby. I want to talk to you just a little more. I can see the tears in your eyes about to fall. You are wondering if I am for real. But if you cry, I wonder why you cry. I tell you how I feel. Baby, I'm for real. Ooh, ooh. And if you want to know the truth about it, girl, I just can't live without you. That's why I'm confessing my love to you. I want to live my whole life with you. That is written by Marvin Gaye and Anna Gaye. I anointed this, so they ready. Let's try right-handed. I like being covered, baby. Run that shit away. Send out an energy of blue argonite on you. All right. I guess I'll get into it, man. See if I can stand wearing these. I want to get into it, man. Moving, grooving. Well, for those, yeah, these are too hot. For those that never watched the show before, there we go. That's even better. Those of you who've never watched the show before, I go by the name of Big Pontiac, and this is the Chocolate Mountain Show, welcoming each and every one of you to this joyous occasion. I am the holder. I'm talking about being present. I'm trying to do everything. I am the holder of the continuous ball game and field created by the Hero Twins. And I am also that galactic daddy-o sitting and welcoming each and every one of the Chocolate Mountaineers to my galactic patio, from Minnesota to the universe. Tonight's featured beer is Andex Cluster Double Back Dunkel. This is 7.1 of kick-ass alcohol. Reminds me of when you work in a beer place, has that smell. And look at this dark brown amber goodness. Don't you wish you were me right now? Don't you wish you were me? Don't you wish you were me? Look at that there, baby. And you see my new job? I am a beer taster. I have the glass to prove it. Now, how many of you are out there get to work and drink beer? And again, we are smoking on the Evolve Plus. This is the Yukon Huff Wolf. And this is the if you need the Plus, they have a smaller one. So pop them if you got them. Smoke them if you want them. Oh. Go. You are not going to meow me to death, buddy. Woo! All right. See who's all hanging out. PJ Allen, what is happening? Reginald, thank you for joining me. That's by a group by the Originals, written by, produced and written by Marvin Gaye and Anna Gaye, Berry Gordy's sister. Hey, brother Edward, I want to talk about you two for a second. You said some deep shit. Did you get the link? Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, Marvin wrote it, but it's sung by the Originals. So you have to look up the Originals. They the ones that sung it. All Biz, what's happening? Lorenzo, what is going on? Yeah, I'm a little late tonight, messing around. I admit that there are sounds used to hurt my brain, but now that I'm different place, mostly I know cool only sensation when you make those sounds. So yeah, that's why thank you for saying that. But I've always said, you can listen to just that and you can loop that. And outside, what's the connection between the Time Lords and Olmec? Question: what's the connection between the Time Lords, the Olmec, Black Jaguar Priest? Oh yeah. I'll get into that too. I'll get into that. That's a good question. Whoops. My homeboys finally got it at Ice Ever Bush. They get to sip on the clique. Yeah. When I used to make beer in Battle Creek, shit, we would bottle at 7 a.m. We had to taste the beer. Like when we was bottling, we had it on like an old small brewery. So we had it on like an old bottle, the way they did sodas. We had that on that type of line. I got start writing down notes like you because I have what I'm going to talk about. By the time your show starts, I'll fuck around and forget. Oh yeah, I got to write down. If I don't write down, I'll pretty much forget it. I want to answer Edward's question, and Edward's on something brilliantly. But Edward wanted to know, what's the connection between the Time Lords and the Om and Omic. Well, it appears like this. It appears like the time walking, and that's, I know you say time lord, but it appears like the time walking information really goes into, if you let me put my armor on, but it really does tie into the Mayan calendar, which is basically the Omen calendar. Even the some of the Mayan script is different. Again, very little um, breaking the code of the Omen script, but the system of, and I show this all the time, but this system right here goes in, and I have pictures where it shows you how this turns into the rain god Shak, or Tak, or Talalak. Now you say, so I'll tell you how the information came to me. So I get this information, and automatically, when I start looking at books, it points me in this direction. It points me to this direction, studying the Mayan, and not really even understanding to study the Mayan. But through studying the Mayan, it put me in connection to studying the Omen, or the Omac. And then as I studied it and recognizing things and seeing things over and over again, it points me into even the Mississippian area, because you see this same thing. This is definitely Omen type of art we see in America. So as the time walkers, as being teachers and civilization builders, it becomes very obvious that part of the civilization, even the idea of Hanukkah, or of something starting this thing off, is very much like something that the time walkers would teach, because Hanukkah teaches movement and measure. And as I've said many times, there are beings that don't want to be measured, so they move. They barely move at all. But they're beings and doing their thing, controlling their worlds. But the way they make it all move is not detected, because again, they do not want to be detected by this, because it knows once it starts. So as we look at the Omen as the really the oldest civilization of the Americas. Now I know the Makai is another name Dr. Winters put out there, but I found another name very similar of a tribe much later. But when we talk about civilization, it is obvious that the time walking civilization had to kickstart the Omen civilization. It had to. Now, it does not appear, and just like we just saw the movie I described the other day, where you can't bring the technology in too fast. They only could bring certain technologies in. And so as a civilization, early civilization, or even a culture of building civilization, it does appear like they are interconnected. Again, they didn't give them, well, I'll even say this, Edward, I'll even go deeper. How now the time walkers talk about having machines made of brass that could basically levitate, and not only levitate anywhere in the world. We kind of see a picture in this. If anybody's seen the Dan Calloway has the book of I think the book, it's a copy of a picture called, I think it's the Book of the Americas. And it shows like two wizards, holding up a melanated person. And if you look, he's like riding a clamshell, but if you look in his hands, it's almost like a steering guide. It's too big to be a staff, but this is like a representation to me of the time walker influence, of them knowing that it once was something that lifted the men and moved through. So that would be their connection. The technology, oh my goodness, but beer is so good. It's probably my second favorite beer. But the connection, now I'll say that well, even some of just the dress of the Moors has, I'll say, been a part of it, because again, they've had to help the Moors, but this is long before even that was put together. But in some way, the dress seems to have been donned in Americas and did go up through the Midwest. As I've got a picture of Tecumseh, or a recreation drawings of him and his brother, where they wear the turbans. So the turbans is not necessarily a Moor thing, if you understand. This is a thing that was universally used as head coverings. And so that is where I see the connection in the Jaguar energies. Is the Olmec civilization, because the most powerful panther is the black jaguar. But I wanted to say this about you, Edward. Like, Edward said something beautiful when it came to, Edward said, and this is, you published this, so I hope you don't mind me saying it. But Edward said it straight up. Edward was like, he said, I took the medicine to blend in, but I know how to protect myself from what it's going to do. But I'd never thought of it as a way to blend in. And that was brilliantly said. I really looked at that as like, wow, okay, I feel that. Because I'm prescribed concentrics, and just taking it for a while. And just like I take other medications, those are only going to do so much to me. Now, I've got bum rush with a couple shots the last couple times I've dealt with doctors. And it's not that stuff, it's other stuff. Like I got a tetanus shot, and that shit hurt for about a week. But I have been cut by metals. I mean, so this is what they say, but there's other evidence that kind of a little bit of sinister in that. So, but I never thought about that. So that does put a brilliant part of the equation. So, and I'm not saying yay or nay, you know, I've been very vocal about my position, so I'm not saying yay or nay, you know, not endorsing, but I'm saying that is the way I hadn't looked at it. To do it, to go along, to blend in. And that's, you know, that's very much the spook who sat by the door, you know, kind of deal. So right on. You know, I listen to you and the brother. I'll just tell you, I don't mind the brother, but like some of that stuff he talks about attracts what he's trying to repel. And I can't even listen to that stuff because now like what you guys talked about that day, I dug. But some days, like what he talks about, the very thing he's trying to repel, he attracts that. And he shows that he attracts it. And and listening to that stuff. Now, if he's on other things, yeah, I can rap. I'm cool. But some of those things, I think the other dude is named Lone Wolf. If you want to look that stuff up, that's on you. But they seem to attract the very thing they want to repel. And so I can't even put that stuff in my psyche, you know? And it's no knock to him, but I'm saying that kind of thing, some of those things attract stuff to you. So the Jaguar is the original Thundercat, thundering. Yeah. And again, the cat consciousness, like if anybody listened to Brother 7 today, the brother was talking about, you know, he really tapped into the Mayan, but the Omen was able to do it too. And what I was going to say, I hope let me write Bomber's name down. But see, what I was going to say is, I was going to tell this story, and I've told the story many times before. Even, you know, I think even me and Edward said this stuff before, but and maybe I didn't. I thought I shared it when Edward was there. But okay, I was going to say is okay. So just as the time walkers was able to have these brass machines that was able to move through, you know, cut time, because that's all a car is. It cuts time. So it does put you a little bit in the future just because of travel. People don't really get that. Traveling somewhat, you know, you're cutting time compared to just man walking time. But this is what the Omen, I'm sure, started. And this is what is his name that used to do the tours up in DC? It'd take people to commit and do the tours and shit. But one thing he showed is and this is Manly Hall is mentioned as well. He shows a relief of what was called the Mayan. Now, the oldest god in Kemet is Hathor. Now, go to the oldest writings. You just look this up for yourself. Look it up. But it's Hathor. It's a female. And Hathor is a direct copy of the oldest goddess of the Americas called Mu. Called Mu. Now, everyone, I'm sure, is familiar with the land of Mu, which I think Tasha said it best. We live on a moving thing. Now, how close we live onto the moving thing, we really can't say. So that's the whole idea of move, is a living thing that we supposedly lived with and lived on. This is kind of like I even say, it's kind of like the first thought. It's like Hanukkah and then Mu. Mu made the first thought. And this is a direct copy of, and so even in dealing with the Mayan culture. Now I bring this up. Now I guess I kind of went a little bit, but to follow this. So one thing they definitely picked up, and this is why I brought up really talking about Kemet. So wearing these jaguar eagle outfits, we was able to, let me see in the dictionary. Here we go. We was able to travel over there, and we would come out of caves. We'd come out of caves and, had a way of levitating, was able to move around with nothing but the caves. We not dressed like them in these other outfits. The omen is always wearing, representing the hero twin, so they always wearing the helmet. Buddy, that probably is going to play on my recording. So if you follow my thinking there, so they advanced it where they didn't even need to use the vehicles anymore. They could just go into the caves. As I've said, I've experienced birth through a cave, looking at the whole process and what the cave does. And that's a shame that we don't, we have to make artificial caves now, like the soundproof place that's here in Minnesota. It's the quietest place in the world. I'm trying to get my son to go with me and take my bows and stuff and see, can we take how we hear? And that's another way of healing yourself. So that's how they knew about us, obviously. And by us introducing and helping them. And I would even say them people in Samaria too. Them people in Samaria too. Because the ziggurat is nothing but a pyramid. It is, if you look at it, it's a ziggurat style pyramid. So again, they obviously were exposed to it as well. Silence is a warrior's art, and meditation. And meditation is his sword with the sword of meditation. One will be able to cut down the illusion of the mind, revealing the lack of substance. Well, I mean, the Virga and the Puja, cutting through ignorance. You guide this and you cut through ignorance. You move through the motion. Virga is also moving through motion, but cutting through ignorance. I always put stones with that Virga. So it just gives you that knowing, adds to your knowing. Hey, Adrian, thank you for joining. Hey, conspiracy, what's happening? But yeah, I dig that. It is because what you have to understand, like especially, even from a macro, there's, like the song says, sometime I rap fast, sometime I rap slow. And that's how you got to move. You got to be able to, you got to be able to move with the crowd. You got to be able to move with the crowd. So you got to be able to read the crowd. That's the thing. You got to be able to read the crowd too. And that's success with your rap and your communication. Like you say, it is the idea of blending in. Last night, or maybe I made a mistake. So I was listening again. Auto sears is pretty much here, like mug. I was saying they call them L's because they're pretty much shaped like a little L, but they're auto sears. And an auto sear you can put into any pretty much semi-auto, and you make it. So I made a mistake and called. Well, I've heard it called the L too. I've heard people, but that's the correct name. That's the correct name, is auto sears, and they will make your very easy to produce with a 3D printer. But they will make any semi-automatic spit it out, all of them. And you got Glocks. You can load Glocks with 100 rounds. How controllable? I mean, depending on how good a shot you are. Everybody was talking about they ain't controllable. That's a lie. You can shoot, you can shoot. You can make that shit controllable. It's just you get a rhythm. Shooting is a rhythm. So, but I hope that, kind of answered your question, Edward, to the best of my recollection. Sometimes I rhyme fast, sometimes I rhyme quick. There you go. There you go. Macbone, hey. But yeah, sometimes I rhyme fast, sometimes I rhyme quick. That's right. I mean, you got to move differently. You got to read the crowd, read the faces. Look, take all those social cues. You think they look at David Blaine like how he's reading these cards. You actually tell a story with your face, and people can read that. People can read the blinks, and it's all this kind of thing can be understood. I mean, think about it like this. The card deck is only 52 decks, right? 52 cards. If you're able to read every expression that a person, so you set up a line of people, and you can look at their expression when they have a certain card. Do you feel what I'm saying? So you look at a person that has the King of Hearts, and then you go look at another random person, and when they have, you see the face because you know the expression when people hold King of Hearts. And you can read that. You could read that. So you could just take 52 people, look at each and every one of them, and read what. So you're only really got to understand 52 different ideas. So it's not really. I mean, that ain't real magic. That's just it's kind of a facial expression recognition kind of thing. Yeah. Hey, Marcus the Great. Yeah, I started a little late tonight. I was messing around. Shit still ain't right. But yeah, I was messing around. So messing with stuff. That's all I was doing. But yeah, so I hope I, explain that the best way I can explain it. There's so much other work, there's so much other work of Jose Aguirre's that it led me to. I mean, he really gets deep into touching all of it. It's like how. See, the only way we really see this system and how they put the system in place is that you got to violently overthrow it. That's the history of America. That's how you try to take the country. You got to violently overthrow it. So that's the the mindset that they gave to people. I mean, again, when you look at the Black Panthers and how they hired all the characters, I think there was only a few real characters. Fred Hampton was probably one of the few real characters. It was more, but probably the most famous real character. They hired all these other characters, and then again pushing that propaganda that the only way is to fight this thing. Now, King was right and wrong. Again, King, that integration thing, that ain't what we needed. No, we didn't need that. The Myers should have been just leave us the fuck alone. Y'all keep your shit, and we'll continue to keep our shit. I mean, really, that's when it should have been two Americas, like Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm said. It really should have been. And that is what Tecumseh fought for. Give us a barrier where this is our land, and you guys stay out east. You have your country, let us have our country. And the British, semi was trying to help. But the thing is, you see, is if you ignore the thing, and that's why I try to tell people, you got to ignore this motherfucker. You cannot keep giving your energy to this thing. That's why I don't even really like that will shit. I ain't even really like talking about it. Now, I gave my 50 cent to it, or my little 2-piece to it, but because I was questioning about it. But it wasn't something I just overly brought up because, again, if you don't feed into it, it dies quicker. It dies quicker. That's why I say that the problem I have with Zach is everything has to be broken down. No, it don't. The thing that he's done the best is he showed you to just read the stories. And the stories is bullshit or possible bullshit or not true at all or propaganda. That is what we get hit with. That's what we get hit with. That's what we get hit with. Well, thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Mopreme. Very cool for y'all to join me. So that's the things we need to avoid. I mean, I'll say that as a group, it's really hard to try to say as a group we could save everybody, and I would think that would be next to impossible. As I said before, and I've said over and over again, stupid people rule most of the world. I mean, there are wicked people, but there are wicked people that rule stupid people. And that's not I got a better complex. No, that's what it boils down to. And part of the education is to make you stupid, to feed into it. I mean, something they did when I was young, and they don't do it everywhere, but like the Pledge of Allegiance and all that stuff. Lining up, like I was saying, lining up like the Prussian army taught everyone to be in single file lines. I mean, they if your desk wasn't like that, when you lined up in gym class, you lined up in single file. When you would walk in the hall with your teacher, she would line you in single file. And of course, with a bunch of bad little motherfuckers running around, you do need them in one line to kind of move them around. I do understand that. But that also teaches you to march and follow orders. Fall in line. Breaking up changes slightly bit. North of me, about 4 or 5 hours north of me, North Dakota got 4 feet of snow. They don't know when the street's going to be cleaned out. So did Montana. Okay. Let me get on saying what Brother Bomber was saying about the Mayan. You know, it goes in a little bit of what I've said the first time I ever heard the word time crystal. It goes into, if you take all the crystal skulls and you put the one in the middle, the oldest skull in the middle, that is how you create something that can repeat over and over and over and over and over again. But as Brother Bomber was saying with the Mayan, that the Mayan were able to hit a different degree, to hit a different dimension. Now, see, he limited what he said, and what I've said, and I've said this plenty of times. I'm gonna pass that out. Ooh, yeah. But what he didn't go far enough in saying, what I've said many times before, and what this is not only were these Mayan able to lift themselves to a different dimension, they was able to lift cities. They was able to take cities and lift these cities up. That's why you hear about the golden city of El Dorado. What is the other one that's supposed to be off India? But this is, and as I said before, that new way of looking at the radar, LIDAR, I think it's called, is to knock these amplifiers up, because that's why these are everywhere. These pyramids are everywhere to hold this up. Shangri-La, la. Thank you, Motivite. Shangri-La. I mean, these cities, but what it really was is they were able to lift themselves up when these motherfuckers came. So the highest spiritual people did kind of leave hanging the lower spiritual people here. Because he didn't tell the whole story. That's the whole story. He only told that, he just said the priest was able to lift themselves up and be in a different dimension. I disagree that it was fourth dimension, but he don't want to tell the whole story that they was able to lift these cities up out of here. And they're still there. And this goes back to what I teach about the tree wars and stuff of having beings that was really the first type of beings was able to adapt when the first goo was kind of just everywhere, which you would look at as water, but it was like always a higher kind of, it was always there. And it as time evolved, you had to learn how to achieve this. And I think through the time crystals, they were able to achieve this. Because again, when you start a time crystal, not only is it going to kind of repeat worlds, but also it's going to repeat energy without needing an energy source. So they know it's achieved. They haven't, and it does not appear like they can achieve it. And that's why they've taken the skulls and they ain't been able to achieve it with these skulls. Because then what's it called with Keanu Reeves and that 3, where I showed that video where all the skulls are down the hall. They're trying to tell you they got them. And that they don't care about them. Because again, what happens in the fight, they tear them all up. But they tell you they got this stuff. And Bobby Hemmett told you that, that he's trying to say that some of the stuff they left behind you can't use. I disagree, because this is simple study. It's a simple study. I mean, it gets a little, but everything really, if you really want to get an understanding on how to move, and again, this shit here is brilliant. Nobody else really does this to show you how a soul can look and how it would move through space time. This is the first book I ordered. This is how a soul can look. I mean, hell, you won't even say that DNA shit and let this bomber talking about, yeah, okay, fuck some DNA. This is it right here. This is it. This is the representation of what will continue. If you need to see it. Because some people will only convince when they need to see it. I'm talking about being the wave harmonic. This was just the first book. And what the song say? Didn't I blow your mind this time? What's happening, Jeffrey? Yeah, I've been watching that. I've been watching it. It is kind of showing, it is kind of showing, your shadow side. Hey, D, did I say what's happening to you? I'm sorry if I didn't. That had you in the single line. Project 51. I'm not hip to that. Has anyone? Yeah, I've been watching Moon Knight. Moon Knight is a little bit about that consciousness too. John Wick. Yeah, thank you, John Wick. Yeah, John Wick. Oh, Sean, hat size, because they be having fitteds too. I need a hat size. I think PJ can just text it to me, but Sean, put your hat size. I imagine you got a head like 7+, so maybe 7.5. I'm just talking shit. Yeah, but thank you, Jeffrey John Wick, Brunick. A.B. Brown. People ask what the purpose of knowing the numbers and rituals, but these are the same people that get very emotional and invest in their time and conversation when things like this will happen. Okay. Yeah, Moon Knight is nice, and the concept is nice, and the concept really saying tapping into your shadow self. Now I know they try to use the other consciousness as the shadow, but that's really trying to tell you is that you can work with your shadow self, and that through your shadow self, you can move through. But yeah. Now I've only watched maybe the second episode, but I'll just tell you how. This is why I'm hesitating. I'm going to hesitate because, again, I try to tell people the whole story. And part of what they're showing is that flat earth kind of thing. That is, okay. He said we don't wear the same size. He talking shit back. Right up. I wear 7 3/8, punk. I wear 7 3/8. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's funny. That's real funny. My head's big, so you're on point with the size. No, you got to tell me what size though. It's 7 something. Is that the size though? What did I say? 7.5. Okay. If that's it, because I'll be getting them fitteds too. All right. That's a fairly big noggin there. Must be smart. Touching on the MK Ultra split personality disorder used for super soldiers and mind control missions. Yeah, I was saying is part of it too is the flat plane kind of thing, because you're seeing the illusion, and the illusion is now see, this is what they don't mention is, okay, he's able to become you through possession, but you're able to become through him. So he rests in the mirror world. That's what they don't explain to you. That's where he goes. He goes to the mirror world. The mirror world comes out. It's always a transfer. And Brother Palmer was saying with desire, you cut off the lamb's head, and then you ride the lamb through the desire, but you don't really need to do all that. So that's why I say I want to tell all of it, because it can be looked at it as that way too. But really, if you just kind of the way the cartoonish way of presented it, it is your the dark side of yourself. And Jeffrey said the super soldier in you. Well, how could not part of the dark side be a little stronger physically. It's very possible. So that's part of it too. Okay, okay, 7.5. Okay, bet. Okay, cool. This mug got jokes tonight. This mug got jokes. I love it though. You can't joke. You what is you? And Moon Knight 3 is a third personality as well. Okay. Hey, Nicole B, thank you. Oh, okay. He says five. So it part of that, that's a simple thing. Is part of it is being able to make the transfer of possession, but coming from the mirror world or the shadow world. Um, like a lot of people say they do a lot of shadow work, and I guess that would get into the other point of experience I've had. And I say this all the time, and maybe I can not knock everything down and show this, just to give an example. Yeah. So like even though you see both sides of this, even though you see both sides of this, you see the male and female aspect of the thing. Um, I've said this before, and I know Quantum of Science talk shit about this book, and I ain't say this book is the final solution. No, I ain't never say that. I'm saying it's a part of it. But my point is you have to know that when you go into your mind, you go into your deepest thoughts, however the meditation comes to you, whatever you start perceiving, if you perceive something that is unagreeable, it doesn't necessarily mean wicked or evil. See, but that's the part of the brainwashing. We're taught that if we see something, we're taught to be scared of shit, first of all. We're taught to be scared of stuff. And so we're taught that fight or flight. So when you are into yourself, as you get into deep meditation and you come across, because again, you should be not spinning, you get past spinning where you're actually, I guess, somewhat different dimensions come in and out, because sometimes you get something. It was like when I went in today, something put me in like Lamar Blue. I was like, damn, everything was like Lamar Blue like a mug. I mean, it was so clear. It was like the clearest thing I had ever experienced with eyes or with anything. It was just the clearest of the blue that I had ever lived in. I mean, this thing didn't stay long, but it was like I didn't know that the colors, that worlds would be so vibrant. I had never experienced being in something so vibrant. And again, it was because sometimes when you go in, it happens when you go in. And if you don't pay attention, you'll miss something. Sometimes when you go into yourself, it will happen. A lot of times when you pick up these stones, and sometimes the stones are so eager to put you there, you'll literally close your eyes and it'll come in. And if you're still thinking about everything, other things, you'll miss it. Because a lot of times the stones be eager for you to work with them like that. But that's not what happened. So I came as I was knowing I needed to visit a certain realm or area, whatever you want to call it. I came into one of these unagreeable looking things. And as what you have to do as your practice, you cannot be scared of this. As I said last night, tell the riddle to the Sphinx. You have to make something unagreeable be agreeable. And you can't be scared of something you're trying to con. And it's not that you're trying to con, but you have to show that you have no fear, and you will face it because there's information or there's experience that you need to move on past this. And no matter what form this thing comes into, you cannot let it be like the wall, because there's something behind the door. So you have to learn to use that to say, okay, this can be a catapult. Because say you have to meet it on the way out, you already know how to deal with it. Like, hey, what's that, man? I'm out this motherfucker. No, I ain't steal no shit. So that's why you have to, face your fears, especially when you're in your mind. Should be nothing fearful in your mind. Again, it's a constant kind of thing. You got to always cleanse the stuff around you. That's why part of my prayer, I become the fire spirit, and I burn all that shit off. And that's kind of how you want to do it. I mean, when you smudge, when you smudge, there's somewhat showing you that you become the smoke spirit, and you put the bad energy, you wipe the things around you with the smoke. But if you ignite, that shit burn off you, especially if you haven't made an agreement. Because we get attached by a lot of things we haven't made agreements to be attached by. That's why I say when you go outside this coffin door, you got to hesitate. You especially got to hesitate in places like going into stores, hospitals especially. When I go into the hospital, I have 3 times I have not bring anything in this thing, and I'm not taking nothing out. 3 times I do that shit, walking, and it's a way the hospital is to feed, and they're designed almost like a mouth as you walk into them if you look at them. So there's other ways to go in. You don't go into the mouth. In your humble opinion, how awake and aware are all the people in this chat? I'm asking because I've grown the last 2 years, including things I said right and wrong. I think you got to be aware of certain things just to listen to me, Jeffrey. So even to be interested in what I got to say, you got to be along a certain kind of way. And have growth and empathy. Okay. The Batman, he was about vengeance and fear and no empathy, just emotion. But the end, he learned Gotham needed Bruce, empathy for love and people he became. Okay, that's a nice breakdown. Thank you for that. When we all have to grow, we all can't be stagnant. That's the thing. Like even as I was saying, like Edward asked a question, the time walkers was just the beginning of it. Beginning of my journey. It lit a spark under me. So it didn't stop with that. It made me keep seeking and keep seeking and keep seeking. Say I'm a little aware, just a tad a bit. Yeah, he's aware. He's definitely aware. He sees it. And that's what I mean. He pick and chooses what he wants to put out there. Right on with that. Because everything does not need to be analyzed. Not everything. It's like the video I did tonight. This is this dude's TV show, and you're just gonna let somebody write 42 on the wall like that? Like people, like we are so unaware that we don't catch that. And you can't say, look, when you write a script or a screenplay, TV, movies, no matter what, you got a board, a scene board. A screenplay, you writing everything. You writing from the angle of the shots, you putting everything in there. So it's somewhere they put there in the back wall, in the old ugly dude, we gonna write /2. No, that was a mocking. That's a mocking to let everybody know you better not be drinking my milk. This really? All this noise again. How long am I in?
You spoke to me.
Yeah. You making noise. That thing ain't quiet.
It is.
It ain't.
It is.
You just here to irritate me. If I shoot you on screen one day, they're gonna be witnesses. Like,
I'm an NPC. I'm here to make your life fun.
I've been on cue for a while, just didn't express it. Now you have been. What are your thoughts on people being born in hospitals where there is death and life in the same building? I mean, not really. The minute you're born, you dying. The minute you're born, you start to die. I mean, it's an illusion that you get older, but actually you're getting older to die. That's not being morbid. That's the truth. The moment you are born, you start to die. You grow to die. I mean, of course, experience. Hey, there he is, Silva. Hey, Silva, was you able to repost the video or did they erase it? It's all a numbers game. Man, was you able to repost it? Because I've been so busy, I haven't looked at it. What makes us aware? I mean, you listen to enough people. You listen to enough people to kind of try to help you understand and love the moment and understand the moment and see what's the BS that's holding people back and see the things that are truly putting us forward. You've experienced that? No, it should be up on the channel. Okay, good. Yeah, go watch that with Silva. He had a panel, and we all was chopping it up about he's up in that area. So we was chopping it up about the dude
Frank and Jesse James.
Told you it's not loud.
Well, I mean, because everyone is not going to come aware the same way. Everyone is not going to know the same way. Each person has to have their own experience that makes them more aware. I mean, one part that, like they say, stupidity is doing the same thing, or being insane is the same thing over and over again, actually thinking that you're going to change something. So what happens is, as we go through life experience, and the ups and downs of life, we either take it and say, okay, we agree with the program, and we just follow the program of comfort. I mean, the blues tells you that it's not going to be comfortable. The blues kind of put it that it's, in some ways, it's better that you're uncomfortable, because in some ways being uncomfortable makes you aware. And when you get aware, it can give you the blues. Because when you become aware, and if you can't change that, then that gives you the blues. But also the blues is about overcoming it as well. Because part of the blues is not just the low, it's also the high. Because it's that vibration. So it's being in the blues vibration. So that don't mean just you fail all the time. That does mean that you still got the blues when you floating high. Because you got that doom, 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 that kind of break. Doom, doom, doom. I mean, just to give you a break of a blues break. And so that don't always just bring you down. Sometimes when you real mellow and you hear that doom, 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 I mean, that's what you need to keep you that mellow move. That was some pretty good stuff. Y'all got to admit, that was pretty good. That sounds about right. So every person has to figure out their own way, and discernment. That was a big buzzword. 19 discernment. For some reason, they wanted that in our psyche. And you have to, hey, Nico, thank you for joining. And so through discernment, is you have to, again, you can see certain headlines and know automatically. You ain't got to break it down to know that it's, again, they're playing us. Again, this is misinformation. This is the emotionalism information. So consider that. Consider that. So I know it's all fake. I had a job 2 weeks ago at the UConnect women's game. It's just all, oh, okay, Jeffrey, I feel you. Well, as I said, you got to fight even though you want to cry. I learned that 40 years ago, and I still see it all the time pop its ugly head up. And it's not ugly, it just tells you that even when it seems difficult, you can't just give up. I mean, I'd be dead if I would have, just because somebody hit me with a bat, broke 3 of my ribs. If I'd have gave up, I'd have been dead. Can't give up. Did you see the watch water video? Apparently, by the entire job was made of snake venom. Did you see the watch the? Oh, that jumped. Did you see the watch the water video? Apparently, the entire job was made of. Watch the water. No, I'll write that down and check it out. Watch the water. Okay. Oh, he texted me, so I got it. Okay. No, I have to check that out. I haven't heard that. Definitely balance is the key. Seeing the BS and living through it. Yeah, moving on. You ain't got to discuss everything. Did either of you after the game in my city? A damn big storage room just put up for it was shocking. Like, this is the interview spot. They put him in the storage room. Probably when they was at the airport. They wanted to interview him at the airport. Please stop the COVID. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I saw that. What's her name? Dr. Valori, I think she put that out there. Yeah, I think Dr. Valori was saying something about that too, where she was addressing it. Okay, so yeah, I did see that. I did see Dr. Valori talk about it. I shared it and she pulled it. So I did see it, but I mean, I don't care. It's made of something. It's made of something, and I think Jeff Lee is partly right too. It ain't nothing, but remember, you can inject fear in people through the boxes, through the music. You can inject fear in people. So, and propaganda. Chick was on the View talking about she want to wear the mask regardless. Don't you think she's paid to say that? She wants to continue to wear the mask the rest of her life. It's pretty much the propaganda she puts out there. I want to wear my mask forever. Because the mask is fear. The mask puts the boogeyman around the corner. No way to get around that. That's what it is. It's the boogeyman. It's the same way with the AIDS. It's like you're just gonna take your chance, and one day you'll catch one and blow up. Now, I don't know who said that, but that's somebody's joke I'm stealing. I don't remember whose joke I'm stealing, but that was what they said. It's like, okay, so you're hitting a bunch, and then one day you catch one and it blows you up. That was the equate to the AIDS thing. That was really just about selling condoms too. Divine Networking Solutions, thank you. Oh, this is from okay. No, I mean at the arena after the initial game. Okay. Okay. Oh, all right. Hi, Divine Networking. Thank you for joining me. So you don't really, and I like Bomber. He brings up some thoughtful things. And I give credit when I see things. I give credit to it. I say who inspired me. I mean, we should inspire each other. That's what it should be. No jealousy, and say, okay, this brother said that. And a lot of people try to bring the information. It's like my Gangs of New York. Like my Gangs of New York breakdown, which I did probably, I got on Facebook in 10. I probably broke it down in 10. I can't tell you how many interpretations. The first person I said it is from New York, and he goes by Chief. He goes by Chief something H. And they put him on camera, and not only did he say what I said word for word, he used my emphasis. I just sit there and cracked up. Not only did he say my stuff, he used the way I said it. And the shit was so funny. See it. Sister Phoenix used it too. She used it too. Which is okay. I guess I'm one of the few people to say, hey, this is who inspired me. I guess everybody don't feel like that. And Lobo, I saw one of Lobo's videos. He said I inspired him. That is great. He does it better. A lot of ways he does it better. So how can I be mad at that? That I have started a thinking and through just this, my simple thoughts of looking at this year by year, that people could edit and make this thing look a hell of a lot better than I can, because a lot of people, that will get to more people. And the more people that have eyes on it and can make it look more convincing, that is positive. That I have almost started a new kind of industry of saying, we have figured out how you are doing it, and we're going to expose you every chance we get. Now, stupid people won't pick that up, but hey, Firewater, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And Shanghai right now, they're locking people up and running the same. Yeah, it's identical how they did before. Before they were showing that they was nailing people in. And then they were saying, and I'm passing the same bullshit. They were saying that they wasn't even letting people get the Amazon deliveries. They couldn't get their door dashes. Come on, get the fuck out of here. Noah's out here saying mad evil stuff. You should look him up and listen to some of his speeches if you don't know already. Okay. Noah. All right, I'll check him out. I never heard of him, but okay. Because the connection I like the connection I have with my brother, and it's like, okay, let me go back. Is like he'll like experience, and then he'll tell me the experiences, and I'm able to. Yeah, I wrote it down. I got you. I'll check it out. Regular person. Let me see. How crazy that sounds. Enough. Public water. There's new theory. Snake. Is it crazy? It's like the money. I wrote it down, Divine. So thank you. I wrote it down. Um, yeah, it's like I'll say this about the water. The water is no different than the paper money. They showed that they would say that almost 60% of paper money was used to snort cocaine. And so we talk, people are constantly, especially during the 80s and 90s when cocaine was really the new thing and it was everywhere. But they were saying how much of it. So of course the water, as I said before, the water we drink, other than the wells and even the waters they get out the wells is other than a few plants across the country. There's very few plants that bottle right from the source. Most of them go into trucks. So this is all treated water. Friendships and relationships with crystals. Oh, of course. Yeah. Like this one right here. This is a apatite. This apatite really has taken a role of easing some of this pain in my hand. Now this apatite really kind of it's a stone of the path. It's a stone of guidance through the path. And it has really taken the role of keeping my hands active. It has really taken that. Even this has like just knocked me into so many kind of just thoughts, just sitting with it. Because his name is Shorty. But through the transformation, it's like one day I'm like, man, I want to try this transformation. And it's like I was able to put that to transform and put that feline face. I was able to do it. And it's like, okay, now what? It was like, now what? Now I've been able to fully transform into a panther kind of consciousness or a physical panther, really. But yeah, but even that, just the transferring just from the face aspect of American Werewolf in London kind of shit is kind of interesting too. I'd never just tried that to give you that consciousness too. But being a panther is, I like that more than the eagle. Yeah, eagle, you can live far, you can see from far away, but a panther, you can smell everything. You can smell everything miles. Like you have such a big territory that anything that comes in your territory that's food or predator, you go get their ass. I mean, that is just to me so much better than being eagle. I find that so much deeper. So yeah, of course you can. Yeah, and you like some crystals do get mad when you break them, so you got to separate them, put them apart, whatever you got to do. Don't throw them away, but give them to people. Just separate them. Some get mad when you do break them, but it's like glass. You're gonna break them. I mean, I paid like $90 for this one, and I beat it up. This is double terminated, but just falling and stuff. That was never my intention. I never just take crystals and slam them down. So, but of course you can. Of course you can. As I said, most all my skulls have told me their names, but this one hasn't. And this one literally ordered itself. This one literally ordered itself. It's like I had this. It took money from me, but it was like I had this skull coming, and I couldn't cancel the order because it was already coming. And I'm like, well, damn. It hasn't told me its name, but yet when I move, it's in my bag. When I move and need to go in my bag, it's there. So, yeah, of course. And I dig its role. So, yeah, you can definitely have relationships with the crystals. Again, fear is a tool. Absolutely, fear is a tool. People are scared to die. Yeah, they are. People are scared to get out of this. How do you stop attacks when you visit the astral realm? I can't really say. Well, no, I'll take it back. That witch tried to attack me. That witch did try to attack me. Okay, if you always, I want to put this to make it kind of easy. as I said before, when you really leave your body, you do want to have grounding. You do want to have protection in your own environment. You do want to have that in your own environment. That's why it's risky meditating in other places. If you do meditate in other places, you have to put protection around you because there's a lot around there that would be attracted to what you do. Sound is a great way to kind of keep stuff away from you like that. It's a lot. You can put that sound and the beautiful thing, like a big bowl like this, you take it outside, it ain't gonna never stop because wind blowing on it makes it turns it on. So you have those simple protections from things that easily can come in. As I told the story about the witch got me up out the place. I mean, the witch, like when she tried to get me to marry her, she got me out my protective barrier because I followed her. I was like, shit, a part of my lower self followed her. And right before it was time to say I do, and I had knelt down, was about to do it, my higher self brought me back into the protection. So a week or so later, and this is why I'd be very leery of listening to sounds off the phone. Like I found it was a singing bowl app off the phones. Well, the singing bowl app came in, and damn if two of her people didn't come in. Now this is some Iron Man shit, and it's really things we can do. You can literally laser blast shit. I mean, if that is part of your psyche, you can literally move things away from you almost like a laser blast. Now, can everybody do that? I think if you've experienced watching that kind of thing, you can. And it's putting your intention in it. You can push things away from you. Because again, in that aspect, you are everything's heightened. By just you projecting yourself, by you leaving your body, you do have still abilities. It ain't just like, well, you should, and that's the other part I would say is if you are at the stage where you come out and you feel that you can still be attacked, then I would say get a little stronger, get better protection. Because again, repelling things is fairly easy. And I understand what you're saying. It's not the same as saying something unagreeable. You're saying it's straight being attacked. And it could be something trying to feed on you too. So be aware of that. But proper protection, getting stronger and stronger as you move without, and being able to push space away. You can be in your own space. It's almost like warp speed. That's really what warp speed is. You can move away from that too. Because if you can warp in something else, what do you think they call it? You can warp phase into something else, you can get away too. Like, I ain't even got to stay this low vibration. As I was saying, once you get above the golden ratio, the turning, you don't need that turning anymore. You can easily just warp away from something, fight or flight. You ain't even got to fight it. So it's another way to get away from it. Now, if you have an aim where you need to go, you might have to push away, fight your way through it to go where you got to go. That's possible, but that's possible. Fight your way to where you got to go. You be tricked. A lot of times it's tricks. So it's not the knock them down fight. It's the mental trick fights that you got to overcome. It's the mental part. Because remember, you leave your body, the mental is still there. You're all mental. Spirit is almost all mental, or you can say spirit, soul, however you want to look at it. It's all using all this. All this is a projection. He says, using more of your mind. Well, you are the Lucy when you move through. You're using a lot more than what they try to tell you. So I hope that answered it. Sorry. This is happening from my home. I have a bunch of crystals and stuff in my bedroom. Oh, I can really give you easy bedroom stuff. But just try this. The crystals you can wash, just wash them. The crystals you can't wash, smudge your whole room or incense your room. Again, look at the smudge as more of the fire than actually being the smoke, because it's lighting the fire, so you can be the fire too. Clean your room out like that. Easy way, if you got crystals, is put a repel grid. Put a repel grid up. And I mean, you don't need very many crystals to do a grid. But as I said, I have these in my windows, selenite. Very cheap. You can get a whole big block. Used to be about $5-6, and then you can cut it up, and you can put it in your windows in your bedroom. Like my bedroom only got one window. Yeah, I've got a poor person's one window is like almost like a prison window. Like, hey, what's going on out there? But put selenite in your windows, and it'll keep everything out. And just do a repel grid. Just for maybe a week, put a different thing that is in your intention of repelling whatever's attacked you. That's another way to use your crystals, because your crystals will go on offense too. They don't just sit back. That's why I love this even more than the fire agate. This garnet, go out there and get that shit. As I'm entering, it's going out there cutting through shit for me. That's why I love garnet. That's why I saw this rig. I was like, I gotta have this rig. I felt this rig. It's like, whoa, yeah, we gonna go through it. And I have a bag. I've always carried another garnet. So that's what I would say. Just reconfigure. Just reconfigure things. It's like the worst world. People get just is proclaimed, so it must happen. We must not do anything to try to stop it. Comes, yeah, a good point. Good point, brother Jeffrey. Okay, that's all. Yeah, yeah. Just reconfigure, but for a week, put up a repellent thing, and it'll work. Just if you got enough, you don't need that many, but definitely selling that into windows. Definitely that, and just incense, smudge, however you want to do it, but don't be the smoke, be the fire. And that stuff can't burn without the fire. So, vodka was Solomon's breastplate real? I have a big giant selenite. Oh, all right. Yeah. Like they're all around. So yeah, I cut one up and just put them in the windows. I have one. Selenite is a great vortex too. You can make a nice vortex out of them. Nice vortex out of them. Vodka says, was Solomon's breastplate real? Because what you do is when you get her book about crystals, you get this book about crystals. You get this book about crystals. Well, how they say it is, they say, now I've heard what you're saying too, Solomon, but what they're telling you is that the priest, their breastplates, that it does go back to the idea of Solomon. The Solomon wore, just like the crystal on the Marvel character, he was able to put them on his hand. Well, they were saying Solomon had a breastplate of different crystals. He wore them on his breastplate. And so then you had different holy sects that would do this and imitate this, where they would put all the crystals here. And again, they're trying to emit out of the heart to activate everything, because they know the heart is another mind. And so they try to activate everything from the heart. So that's kind of what it's showing you is instead of how we're really taught to activate the crystals through the mental, actually it's telling you to activate the crystals through your heart, because your heart and a little bit of your organs being separate worlds, the same kind of way. It's telling you that that's where you activate it, because technically the brain in your chest is really stronger than the brain in your heart. This can die and this will still be alive. So that tells you right there what's the strongest. And you think because this ain't thinking that this ain't thinking, it's still moving everything. It's still thinking. It's still talking to everything. And that's why they try to give everybody dementia and Alzheimer's. Make you forget how to go in the next place. You listen to Quantum of Science, you just don't study anything. You don't try to study anything. It's like this can't help me. I didn't say eat the whole cake. I said eat a piece, and that piece might push you in the next level. That's all. Project Looking Glass is an Area 51 smuggling machine used with crystals and photons. Shouted that they are able to see the future events. Okay. You don't need all that to see future events, because future events sometimes are just revealed to you. I've said that story about me. I've said this story before. I saw myself like 100 and something years old. One of my son's relatives came and held my hand. So, oh, you're welcome, Vodka. I hope I answered it. I have an iron horseshoe. Iron good for protection too. Have you ever heard of it? Yeah. I mean, yeah, in a horseshoe shape, it definitely is. Again, that's kind of putting nature in it. And also the horses, horsepower, the motion with the horse, the motion in the horse kind of kicks evil spirits away. It's kind of a luck thing too. Alzheimer is a mofo. Never knew. My pops, now that I am grown and used to meet him, he doesn't know who I am. I can't lie, that shit hurt different. Well, like my grandmother, and I know this isn't funny, but the way she said it, it was like my brothers and sister were a little younger. I was grown, of course, but my brothers and sisters was running around, and my grandmother's like, "Who are those little white kids running on my yard?" And I just kind of giggled, and then my father explained it. But my father really said it beautifully, and I've heard other people copy this, but my father, I heard say it first, and my grandmother's like, "I'm sorry." She's like, "I'm sorry, honey, I don't know you." And my father looked at her and said, "Well, I know you, and that's why we sitting here." And he tapped her on the hand, and she said, "Well, that makes me happy that you sit here." So, as I said, one of my teammates now is probably just turned 59, wiped out, can't walk, 59. And I know he has some CTE. I know he has. So, because his father and mother, his father, I'm not sure the health issues. It was funny. The last time I saw one of my best friend's fathers, he said, "I'm still here," because he had some kind of episode where he didn't pass. And I remember him coming outside was because he still had his robe on. When he came outside, he felt good and saw people. But I remember him saying, "I'm still here." So, and his mother lived. Oh my goodness, his mother was one of the most beautiful women I've ever met. And I was just looking at somebody on Facebook. His sister put it on Facebook showing his mother still old, like was in her. I think she died at 88 or 89. So, and now my father and my aunt both are suffering from it. My stepfather has it really hard right now. His wife, who's younger than him, he's in June, he'll turn 77, I think. In June, he'll turn 77. His wife is probably 74, but she's got it. So he's going to have to put her in a facility, sadly, because he can't do it anymore. So, yeah. But also, it makes a zombie. I mean, there's no spiritual side left to save you. The thing that would really pass. I mean, where do you think that thing is going to be led to? This thing is going to become aware, as it's time to make that decision. After not being aware for so long, you die and you become aware that something's different, and that awareness takes you right into the white light, the blinding light. Easy to lead you to. It's like a blind person. You take somebody's hand and you follow them. That's what it spiritually is. And that's like a zombie too. So it don't feed on nothing. It's just it's you're going to be fed by the beast. So that's the sad part, and that's why they want that, because you're not fighting it at all. As you feel deaf, you're not trying to shut down none of this shit to say, okay, this is how they can get in. This is kind of how they get in. This is how they get in. They got block it all off, and then shoot up out of it. Say, hey, see ya. I beat you, and I got up out of here. Now I'm not gonna let nothing feed on me, because I already know that I'm a note that plays the universal sound. No, that sounds pretty simplistic, but it is our choice. It ain't their choice. It's our choice. Checking in late, hey, Mr. Lamborghini. I'm going to go for about 30 minutes more. Appreciate it. First time I saw you was on Slides. Okay, Firewater. Thank you. Oh, man, me and Slide been doing videos together. Turkey's got a PB, let their parents ride at old folks' home. I'll just say this. Sometime it'll kill you to try to take care of them. My grandmother, we put her in. It was damn near. My grandfather had saved so much cash because he didn't like, but it was like $16,000 a month, and she had a double room, and it helped her. It helped her. Now again, there is places that don't care about old, so you can't kill yourself trying to take care of someone. Now, if you got the ability and the money to help, absolutely. If you financially can help, then don't do it. But if you financially and physically can't do it, it will shorten your life. My pop had Alzheimer's. This really sucks. He lived 93 years old. Family paid their favorite old music. It works. Oh, yes, yes. T.I.'s wife, Tiny, her dad was in a group called the Tams, and she took him to one of their they had a concert, you know, and he knew all the dances. He remembered all the songs. He sung in every song because a lot of times it robs you of current events. That's why it's so important to practice. What did I just do? What did I just do? Where did I put that? Then what did I do? What you've got to really practice that's why I love Motivite. Motivite helps with that. As I said, you should put your keys, everything that's important to you, you should put it in the same spot every day. Every day. Like I put my keys in the same spot, so it's never a question, where are my keys? And why would you put that stress on you? So my point is, it teaches you to know yourself. By putting these important items that you're going to need every day, you get to the point where you can't find something and you say to yourself, well, I know myself, where would I put it? If it's not right here, where would I put it? Thank you. Thank you. That is very kind of you putting in. Thank you so much. So that is what it practices. It practices supremely knowing yourself. So, but thank you for the $10. I appreciate it. I think they're crazy. Thank you, Mr. Lamborghini. That is so nice of you. My grandma, 85, she should get some stuff, but she still she's a cool old lady, Marcus. My grandmother, I had a picture. I saw a picture of my grandmother. It was the prettiest woman I'd ever saw. I looked at this picture of my grandmother. My grandmother appeared to be, she had to be 28, 29, but it was like my type. It was like, and it was a little small picture. And she gave it to me. And I was like, this was the prettiest woman I ever saw. And I had this little picture. This picture had to be from, let me see, my grandmother, let me get it right. She's born 1525. So this picture had to be 33, from 1933, 1934. I'm asking her about this picture in 1990 something. My grandmother was in her late 80s. My grandmother lived to be 91. Let me see. She died in 2000 and my daughter was born in 2006. Yeah, because my daughter wasn't walking when my grandmother died. So it had to be still 2006. But in the 90s, she told me the whole story from this picture. I showed her the picture. She's like, oh, that's right. That's when we drove to Michigan. Your Aunt Pat was only like a few months old or a year or two old. So it had to be 33 because she was born, I want to say, in 32 or 33. So this had to be 34, maybe. Yeah, we all told me who drove up there to Mackinac Island. The picture is from from going from Mackinac, because you have to go over a 32-mile bridge, which is the Mackinac Bridge. And if you don't think being on the bridge for a half hour ain't some scary shit, that's some scary shit. And that motherfucker, you go flipped over it. But anyway, to complete my story, you go to Mackinac, and then to go on the island, you got to take a ferry that takes you to the island. There's no cars and shit on the island. And that's the hotel it's one of the most beautiful places on earth. It really is. So, but yeah, so my grandmother had a sharp mind. I think my mind tends to be like that. Did Motivate remove everything out of your life that did not serve you? No, not really. No, it didn't really do that. I would say the things that really remove things is like the Papalite and the Pedalite. They are more scrubbers, more than the Motivite. The Motivite really, yeah, healing isn't the only aspect of it, helping with the memory, helping with the recall, but in a lot of ways that is the strongest aspect. I kind of forget that I wear it sometimes when I have a beyond experience, because Motivite, again, is definitely going through multi dimensions, multi layers, because it's one of the few stones that's been up and come down, probably starting from down. It doesn't appear like it came from the sky. It appears like it was blown up and able to experience up and then experience down, but starting from down. And so it can give you both experiences at the same time, of grounding, but it can really uplift you to open you up to higher vibrations, but even dimensional movements. It really can open you up to that. but burning away, not so much. I really couldn't say it's burn and push away. Does it repel? It repels in the way what how it will repel is it can uplift you. Like Shungite will just really just super like put you on an amusement ride. It will lift you so fast that the grounding just disappears. It almost is like a rocket. Um, the Motivite doesn't catapult you some way. That's kind of reckless because that's your first time holding a stone like that. That's really reckless, putting your consciousness so fast, so far. It's kind of reckless. Um, but but Motivite will always give you that, like as it will rush you up, you'll be rushed up like this. It really doesn't the energy is not wild expanded energy. The energy will keep you kind of within this. So it kind of like on Star Trek when they move from one place to the other with those things. It kind of gives you that kind of different projection instead of having you out there feeling like that without it really doesn't take away the grounding. But healing neurons, it really helps in that. And I think the attack on our brains, I tend to ask for it to help me like that because I know as we get older, that is one thing they try to attack. And I supremely know that Motivite can help in those repairs. So could you use it like that? Yeah, because you can leave things that don't serve you behind. I mean, that's one way you could use it is it uplifts you. Things that can't uplift with it. A lot of times things that don't serve you well ain't going to uplift with it anyway. So you could use it like that, like, hey, I need to get light and just push me in a more balanced way. And it could leave that stuff that don't serve you, right? So you could use it like that. It's again how you program it. So it's how you want to use it. Real Motivite is expensive. Was interesting buying some of my local crystal shops, but they didn't have it. Yeah, it's expensive. As I've said before, my 25-gram crystals that I got, I think the most I spent for my big piece, and even for this is probably 20 grams more. I mean, even this, what did I pay for this? Two something, maybe three, but it's worth like triple that, almost 10 times that. This stuff is really, because what happened is they stopped mining it. The place where they get it in the Czech Republic, they closed it down, so they can't even mine it anymore. So eventually, it's going to become limited. And don't buy that stuff from Japan. They'll send you glass because they got glass that you can look at glass. And again, me having the quality background, glass always has types of bubbles that we see. So, and Motivite will never have that. There ain't no such thing as blue or red Motivite. Those are all fakes. So it's become very expensive. Some snake oil salesmen out here in these spiritual sheets, they capping. Yeah. They are. They are. I mean, if you want to, burn things off you, it's a Zoolite. Zoolite will burn things off you. Like right now, I'm in again, this is the Populite. This is the Populite pyramid. And I kind of keep these in all the corners of the house and the windows. But I keep a kind of a vortex I've created. And so, but these are, as you work with these Zoolites, and these are cheap, you can get a Populite anywhere. Petalite is stronger. This is Concordiavite. This comes from Alaska. Concordiavite, again, a very supreme scrubber, because when I have my harmonizers, my two different harmonizers, and I keep my big piece of petalite. And sometimes I start with the petalite, and I'm like, hey, remove that, which I didn't agree to join me. So yeah. So it's and I mean the books kind of mention it. The books kind of, well, I'll go with Simmons because Simmons is probably the American expert. I mean, I've got a whole book of Motivite on him. Matter of fact, in this discussion here, Natasha don't even say nothing because again, he's the man. Like even in this book, Melody don't say nothing about Motivite because of Robert Simmons' book. Yeah, because he's kind of the father of Motivite. And his shop, Heaven and Earth, but I imagine his stuff is even more now. And just give you 139, 325, 325. Here we go. This is some 325 lion. Let me see how he gets into it. Okay, I guess I'll start from here. The event which gave birth to Motivite was tremendous power. The force of the impact explosion has been estimated at 6 trillion megatons. See, that's coding. Far more than all the atomic bombs on Earth. The heat mentioned above was high enough to vaporize rock, and the main body of the meteorite is believed to have passed completely through the Earth's crust, penetrating to the outer core of the planet. This deep impact is said to disturb the currents of rotating liquid iron enough to cause reverse of Earth's magnetic poles. Now this is propaganda. It says other ways of feeling Motivite's energies include pulsations in the hand while holding the stones. A lot of stones will do that. A lot of stones you hold, it'll pulsate in your hand. So it's not just Motivite. Let me see if I can get let's see. Okay, here we go. Motivite is a powerful aid for meditation and dream work. In both cases, taping a piece of Motivite to the forehead can have the effect of creating a much more vivid visionary experience. I would say, like, I just have the blinding mask, and you can pop a piece right between the blinding mask if you don't want to tape it onto your head. So what he's saying is it can make the meditation more vivid. Yeah, it can do that. But using she legit would do that. It is a powerful catalyst for self-healing, clearing blockages and opening the meridians, as well as energizing the interconnection between all of one's etheric and astral cause and physical bodies. Like the ancient fabled Angi Mani revealed in the ancient lore, motivates a talisman of spiritual awakening, transformation, and evolutionary growth. So they call it the stone of transformation. And I've heard a lot of people keep saying, so you must be transforming all the time. It's causing changes, and it doesn't. You don't have to. Yeah, it doesn't. You don't have to be transforming all the time if you use it. That's silly. Again, you have to get to know the crystal and have the crystal know you. That's all. I think Simmons is right when he says, you take the crystal into your heart, not necessarily in your third eye. Where is this picture? I know it's in this book. I guess maybe not. It is, but maybe it's not. Okay. Oh well. I have some Motivite incense. Yeah, I think Simmons sells that. He sells some of that. Yeah. What is a book do you recommend from Simmons? His book on Motivite, definitely get. If you're interested in Motivite, get his book on Motivite. I don't think it's down here. I think it's in my bedroom. But get that. This book isn't bad. You can get the newer edition. This is from so there's more stones added in his newer books. I've had this one for about 5 or 6 years. Let's see. At the time, this was the newest edition, but what is this one? 15. Yeah, I got this book in 15. So his big book of stones, you can get the newest edition, but definitely his book on Motivite, his original book on Motivite from early 70s maybe, get that one. Because he tells you the history of Motivite in America and the first dude to write, hey, so thank you for joining me. Okay, so I'll go for about another 10, 15 minutes. But he tells you about the first guy who really brought it up. and then how he was able to um, get into it. It's interesting. Some experiences that he's had. He talks a little bit about the time walkers because he talks about zooming by the planets, and as the time walkers say, knew how to separate cycles through the Milky Way, and that's what he says Motivate was able to do for him. He was able to separate cycles in the Milky Way. So, but he talks about when you touch it, a lot of people can't touch it. Like Christina, I want to have Christina on, and those of you, she might be able to have some crystals you can order from her. I think it's something goddess. I got to get her writer site down so I remember. It's something goddess. Can't think of what the full one is, but she sells bracelets and shit. She sells minerals. So, but there's a lot of different crystals you can hold for the first time. Definitely that pulsate. Definitely that can give you different feelings. Some crystals you hold in the heat. Quartz is really good for that. You hold them and it holds in the heat. So if you drop it and you pick it back up, you feel the crystal being warm. There are a few different ones that do that. As my son said, my ruby fushout, a generator, and a generator is better than a pyramid, or not a pyramid, but better than like an obelisk, because obelisk is only 4 sides. A generator has 8 sides. So it's, my son saw it moving one time. He caught it. My son was in such vibration where he was able to see. He was like, Dad. I looked. He's like, did you see that? And he said he saw that generator moving. So he was kind of vibing high. I always feel alone, even when people. Did you ever relate? Because I am a young buck around people, but I want to follow my spiritual path. Well, I don't know. I think alone doesn't bother me. So I don't really know what being alone is, or lonely, but I understand what you're saying, being a stranger in a strange place around familiar faces. A stranger in a strange place around familiar faces. I get that. You're around familiar faces. A lot of like especially women go through postpartum, they feel that because at one time they were so elated and getting the attention of being pregnant, and the baby gets the attention, and it's almost like the mother is ignored. And I'll tell you a true story. It was like when my middle daughter was born, everybody paid attention to her. And if it wasn't for me looking at her mother and saying, "There's something wrong with her," because she was like damn near turning blue because she was bleeding out, And so they're like, "Oh," and they had, because it was like, she was still bleeding. And I looked at her because everybody was, the nurses are working on the baby. Her mother's all, everybody's looking at the baby. And here she was like starting to kind of bleed out. And I was like, "Hey, what's wrong with her?" So I understand what you mean. I mean, I never feel lonely. So, but I understand that you can be somewhere and be disassociated from everything. Yeah, I get that. And that's the thing is I'll highlight a little bit of what you said, is because sometimes if you let your guard down and you mingle, it can not condemn, but the word I'm looking for is not really condemn, but where's the water? Okay. Corrupt. You can be corrupted by influences, and then you take them attachments. So yeah, it's people that can hand out attachments, that try to, feed on you. That's why it's good to cut it out. Am I Creole? Nah. I'm American Indian. No. My people who come from Boston area and North Carolina, as you see the family name, that's what I forgot to say with Sly was the family name, which is Macon, and Macon and Mason is the same word. In French, they would say Mason to pronounce my last name. My last name in France is like very common, very common. It's almost like Johnson or Smith. It's a Macon in France. It's a city called Macon, not just Mississippi and Alabama. Macon, Mississippi. It's actually a city in France called Macon. Why my ancestor picked that name up? Because he ain't from France. I don't know. He come from Virginia, the oldest one on my father's side with the name. But my mother's people, we've got it to the 1600s. We've got it to the 1600s. And some Sister Phoenix said is right. It's like once you find one name, you get 3 generations back. So we easily go back to probably late 1400s, you know, as far as the name of the name of the name. So yeah, we met these mugs. And then my another part of that same family, the people come from North Carolina to the Catawba tribe. It's Wanapanago, something like that. Comes out of I can't say it right. Comes out of the Boston area. So just American Indian. Yeah. Alone in the crowded room. Yeah. Yeah. Disconnected. Yeah. I trace my family back to the late 1700s, North Carolina, South Carolina, Maryland. Yeah, we come Boston, North Carolina. It's Boston or Massachusetts, but Boston. Actually Plymouth, you know, where the Pilgrims was. My people was there. My people was the first tribe to meet them people. And so it'd be Massachusetts, North Carolina, Virginia, and Mississippi, but Virginia, yeah. So they know who we are. That's, you know, not native. Don't take that native stuff. Not native. Not related to natives at all. So yeah. Well, I do have a couple things I got to do tomorrow, so I'm going to have to cut this just a little short. Not sure if I'm doing Responsible Daddy Hour. The weather's pretty decent. I get a call from my daughter's mother, and she's like, "Are you going to go get her?" I'm like, "Well, you know, I got a little upset with the people the other day. I said I need to take a couple of days off from going up there, let it cool down a little bit." She's like, "Okay," because it's too windy. Because it's cold. It's 20 something outside. It's cold. We've had about a 30-mile-an-hour, probably 35-mile-an-hour wind all day. I mean, all day, and spitting snow. It's cold. Last time this year, it was in the 70s. We had fans and air conditioning going, running air conditioning in the cars last time this year. Not this year. It's cold out there. You saw the video I did 2 days ago. I'm wearing a winter coat today, heavier coat. So, oh, that's very kind for you, Say. That's very kind. Well, thank you. And I'm going to give the divination. I'm going to try to start the divination, the little shorts tomorrow. Wasn't able to do it today. But it's called Ik. Common Mayan usage, air, wind. Qualities: spirit, breath, wind, inspiration, presence, truth, co-creator, reality, simplicity, unseen forces, integration of polarities, focused intent. Symbol: spiral, whirlwind, or a hawk. Number 2, which is polarity. Color: translucent, white, light. Herbs: eucalyptus. Flowers: whites, baby's breath, or lily. Flower essence: red ginger, male-female union. Scents: copal or sweetgrass. Stones: Heckmer diamond, quartz, clear quartz, quetzalcoatl, cross. It's an air element. Direction is from the north. And the shadow wisdom would be choosing to see oneself as a victim rather than taking responsibility for creating one's reality. Doubting your connection to divinity or source. Issues of separation, thinking you are separate from source. You are the source. But you can transform it out. Learn to sense and experience your connection with the source by acting while inspiration as it comes to you. And I want to say that is people don't understand when inspiration comes to them. A lot of times that would be your knowing. You know, a lot of times they try to say divine inspiration. No, you just come into your knowing. Like I'll forget crystals' names and the crystals will tell me their names, but it's like you step in, you take a step and it's like all of a sudden everything comes to you in that one step. It's like you are just so much smarter than the step you previously took. It's like you take the next step and all of it comes together. So learn to sense and experience your connection with the source by acting by inspiration as it comes to you. Harmonic wisdom is the interval. Mantra. Okay, let's try this. Mantra. Hands open, hands beneath the mouth, blowing the breath of the spirit, moving hands up, out, and around, hands together as if in prayer. So I'm thinking, doing this. So the mantra would be doing this, and you would say, I am unified presence of the spirit, as you would do this. And the meditation would be, I am the fertilizing and loaming force of the cosmic wind. So, getting that Dr. Strange shit where I mean, you know, that's what he's trying to show you, that the hands can do certain movements to repel things. Yeah, your hands can. You can definitely repel things. Metal is one of the best repelling things when you drive. I want to give that out. You can repel metal from you. You can do a quick little metal spell that repels it. Just when you drive and you feel uncomfortable with cars around you, just block that shit. Do a metal repel. Be like, I repel any and all metals at this time. And it won't throw you out of balance with your car. And the relationship you have with your car appreciates it because it pushes shit away from it. So, because everything that's on Earth comes from Earth. They ain't really making no shit that not in mass production. It all comes from Earth, so it all can be used because they're all Earth elements. No matter how artificial they are, plasticky, they're all Earth elements. And so because of that, just like these crystals, we can make all of it work for us because it's all from the same source. So we can use it all. That's what they tell you. You can't use it all. You can use all this shit, all of it, all of it. It ain't got to be, you know, no magic. It's just got to have intention with it. So I think I touched on everything. Got Sean's hat size. I'll look this name up. Oh, I think it's that Jackie Robinson stuff is coming in. I think tomorrow or this week is the Jackie Robinson Day. The person that destroyed the Negro Leagues. I mean, if the Negro League would have survived, it would have got just as big a contract. But see, they wanted us to make their game better. So this man shouldn't be celebrated. I said this earlier. They said that Jesse Frank James, Jesse and Frank, he called Crime Stopper himself, turned himself in. So again, fun and games, as David Ferrie's character said in the Oliver Stone JFK movie. Fun and games. They're looking for him, and he's calling in like, "Hey, you know that dude on TV sounds a lot like me. I think you want me. Hey, I'm over here at 5th and Main. Come get me. Yeah, I'm over here. Yeah. I didn't do nothing to nobody. I didn't do nothing to nobody. That wasn't me." Oh, that's very kind words, everybody. Let me hit the Mora. I'll shoot that out, definitely. Mora, it all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homelands. They knew that they had exact number of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. But the civilization would build to a gentle love. They knew how to separate cycles, and the great serpent, which is our Milky Way. The man is saying, you take this motivite and you can separate cycles. It is all possible. And to everyone out there watching, all my relatives, all the ones that vibe with me, remember, I am another yourself. So be able to put any situation where you can kind of flip it and look at yourself and how would yourself feel being in the given situation. And as you lay on your creation ball field, they want to call a bed, as you rest into it, may you be bothered by nothing. May you go into your dream screen unencumbered. May you have freedom of movement throughout the night with all the protection that you have created, that you need. And in closing, love just is. That's it. Love just is. It don't come with a price. It don't come with nothing. Love just is. Well, everybody, this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I've been your super funky host. 8 Wind is timeless. I am also the Starface. I'm also the Time Lord. And I'm also Big Pontiac. And saying that, till we meet again, say less.